Marketing Basics. Where do I start? Episode 13. Are you ready to make your law firm a profit-generating machine that will free up your time and skyrocket your impact? With more than 2 decades of business growth experience and having proven that you can be successful while prioritizing your family and your impact, introducing the Profit with Law podcast. I am your host, the creator of the firm differentiator 10x effect, Moshe Amsel. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Profit with Law. I am your host, Moshe Amsel, and I wanted to take a really big step back and talk about marketing from a much more abstract bird's eye view. And before you tune me out and you say this episode is not for me, I think that it is imperative as a law firm owner that you understand the underlying concepts of marketing, that you understand what a marketer does, because when you go out into the marketplace and look for a marketer to run a campaign for you, you will be that much smarter, that much more aware of what exactly you should be asking, what you should be looking for, and how to determine if there are holes in the marketing efforts. If you decide to do your marketing in-house, you're going to have to decide on what your marketing campaigns are going to be. Where are you going to spend your dollars? Now, we did have a previous episode where we talked about a decision matrix, and that was in episode 10, where we talked about a decision matrix of how to decide which marketing effort to put your money into. And that was based on decisions of time and money. But this is even more, what's the word I'm looking for? This is even more strategic than just a question of which asset do you have more of, what can you spare more of, which is going to be the fastest and the cheapest. So this is really understanding client journey and where it's going to take you. So let's jump right in. But before I do, I just want to let you know about a workshop we have coming up. So if you've been listening to the previous episodes, you know that we just ran one this past Monday. And over the next few months, we're going to be hosting a series of workshops. The second workshop in the series is called the Law Firm Cash Solution: How to Stop Living Paycheck to Paycheck, Get Your Life Back, and Only Think About Money Twice a Month. And this is specifically targeted to law firm owners. We're going to talk about how to rein in the cash situation in your firm. So to sign up for this training, it's going to take place Tuesday, May 28th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Head on over to profitwithlaw.com/workshop, profitwithlaw.com/workshop, and register for this training. I hope to see you there. So let's ask the big question that's going to drive the rest of this episode, and that is, what is marketing? What exactly is the definition of marketing, and how do we make that happen? So marketing is, and this is not a dictionary definition, this is really, because we lump marketing and advertising together with each other. Marketing is the progression of a prospect on the journey from unaware to a promoter. Now, digitalmarketer.com is a great resource for marketing information, and I am a student of Ryan Deiss's and their entire philosophy. Now, they are specifically in the digital arena, but this map that they basically laid out of the client value journey, this map, it pertains to everybody in every market and any type of marketing. Basically, they laid out this journey that you're taking a prospect on, and these are the stages of the journey. So the first is aware, then engage, then subscribe, then convert, then excite, then ascend, then advocate, and then promote. So I'm just going to explain each one real quick, and it'll all start to make sense. So when somebody first starts on the journey and first comes in contact with your entity, with your organization, with your law firm, they now become aware of you, and we're going to talk about awareness because there's different types of awareness, but they now become aware that you exist and that a solution to their problem exists. And once they become aware of you, they then engage with you. Now, they might engage with something that you have out there, like your website, or they might engage by picking up the phone and calling, or they might engage by sending you a letter. So they become aware, they engage with you, then they subscribe. So subscribe in the digital sense would be that they ask for more information, they subscribe to your email list, they subscribe to some sort of promise that you have that's going to continue the journey with you. The next stage is convert. Now, some of these can be lumped together. You'll see that with certain tactics, we can actually accomplish a few of these stages with one thing. So the next one is convert, where we are actually converting them into a customer where there's an exchange of value. Now, it's very important to understand at the convert stage, we're not necessarily selling them anything. We might be exchanging their time for their information. So we might be collecting their information and in return, giving them something like a workshop, like I announced at the beginning of this podcast. If you sign up for that workshop, then essentially you are purchasing the knowledge that I am providing on the workshop. And in return for that purchase, you are giving me your name, your email address, and your phone number, and giving me the ability to now communicate with you further. So that is a conversion. It could be that it's a sale. It could be that you don't do free consulting calls or consultation visits, but you charge for it. So it could be that the first step with you would be charging them for that initial consultation. So that could be the conversion stage for you, but that's convert. Then is excite. Excite is where you get to love on your customer and get them to be really excited about the promise that you have promised them. So the deliverable that you're going to do and the end result that they're going to get. And then once they are excited, so they received what they were expecting from you, they're very happy with you, then you can ascend them. So you ascend them to the next step in the journey. So it could be that you initially sold them a consultation and now they're purchasing your services, or they're purchasing a small subset of your services, and then from there they can become purchase a larger subset, return and buy some more from you. So that would be in the ascend stage. Advocate is when they are happy enough with your product and services that they have purchased from you again, and now when somebody asks, where can I get this solution, they're going to tell you, they're going to tell that person, oh, you got to go to this law firm because they're on point. They did exactly what I was expecting. They were easy to deal with, blah, blah, blah. All the things that would make sense that they would talk about you based on their experience with your firm. And then finally, promote. Promote is where they are not only referring you out when they hear about it, but they're actively trying to grow your business for you because they are so excited about the service they got. They are so thrilled with you that they're literally calling their friends and saying, have you taken care of XYZ? Because I just had the most unbelievable experience with this firm. You got to check them out. So some of you are sitting there thinking, I don't think I could ever have somebody promoting for me like that, but maybe I can get them to advocate. That may be. We can spend a lot of time on that on future podcasts. But the idea here is that you now understand that there's a journey. There's actually a road that you're taking people on, and you're leading them through each of these steps. So that's the first thing to understand, is that marketing it doesn't happen all at once. You can't possibly take somebody from being unaware of you to being a promoter in a single step, in a single marketing effort or marketing campaign. And these steps have to happen as a sequence. They're sequential. You're not going to get somebody to be a promoter before they become excited. And you're not going to get them to buy more from you before they become excited. So These steps are very clearly articulated and mapped out, and this is a great way to look at it. Every time that you sit down and think about a marketing campaign that you're going to do, make sure that you're taking people on the right journey from the right starting point to the right ending point. Now, what is awareness? Because that's the first step, right? The first step is aware. So there's 3 types of awareness. There is problem aware, solution aware, and company aware. So somebody who is problem aware is somebody who knows they have a problem. So, for example, I author a book, and I know that I have now created material that I want to make sure is protected. Now, it may be common knowledge to you that copywriting is automatic. You don't necessarily have to go through a copywriting process, but let's say I don't know that. So the first thing that I know is that I have a problem. I've created this book, and I want to make sure nobody's going to steal it. Now I need to find a solution to that problem. What is the solution? So I go and search for the solution. And I may on my own figure out that I need to copyright it, for example. Now I need to find a law firm that's going to help me with copywriting it. So trademark would have been a better example, because that we actually need to go through a process and do. So once I know that I have a problem, and then I become aware of the solution, I then need to become aware of somebody who provides that solution, and that's company awareness. Now, understand that somebody could be before problem aware. In other words, they don't even know they have a problem. A good example of this would be if you're doing estate planning. So somebody just may not know they need a will, or they may not know that they have the ability to manipulate their assets in a way that it will help them in their retirement years. So they don't even know they have a problem because they don't know that they're at risk. They don't know that their finances are at risk in case they end up in a nursing home, or they don't know that they're at risk of their kids being placed into foster care because they didn't make sure to make arrangements for where their kids would end up. So they're not aware of the problem, but they have the children or they have the money, and now in order to start this journey of interacting with our firm, we have to make them aware of the problem. Then we have to make them aware of the solution, and then we have to make them aware of we provide the solution. And only at that point can you then get them to pass the awareness stage and go to the engage stage. So as you can see, even before you start them on the marketing journey, we have to figure out where they're at and get them through those first 3 awareness stages. So let's cover some marketing lingo. There's something called cold traffic versus warm traffic, and this really came about in today's day and age with the internet. People on the web are called traffic, but the concept exists for people sitting on their couch watching TV, somebody driving down the road passing a billboard, somebody standing in the bathroom of a bar and seeing an advertisement on the wall. So anybody who has never heard of you before is considered cold traffic. Now, somebody who's heard of you and had interactions with you at some level, so they might have seen your ad, they might have passed a billboard a number of times, so there's name recognition of your name. They might have seen something, a documentary that was made about you. They might see a video production or a podcast that you were on. There's many different ways that they could have seen or heard about you. But once they're aware of you, they are what we consider warm traffic, where they have an affinity to do something further with you because they've heard of you before or they've seen your stuff before. Now, there's 2 types of marketing. One is response marketing, and one is interruption-based marketing. So response marketing is where somebody is actively seeking a solution, and in response to their search, you are now marketing to them. That is response marketing. So what we know about response marketing is that somebody is already problem aware because they're actively seeking a solution. They might also be solution aware, but we can't make that assumption. Now, somebody is not aware, or they're aware of the problem, but they're not actively seeking a solution. They would require what we call interruption-based marketing, which is where you have to go and interrupt them somewhere to make them aware of your solution and your company and of the need to do business with your law firm, right? So, and I mentioned earlier that I have this decision matrix that I covered in episode 10, which is another piece of the puzzle, right? So you want to understand the costs of a specific problem, and you want to understand what kind of time frame is involved. So now let's look at the effectiveness of the different types of options. So if you were to go after cold traffic versus warm traffic, which would be more effective? Talking to people who never heard of you, or talking to people who already are aware of the problem and aware that you provide a solution to that problem? Obviously, warm traffic is going to be more effective. What about the awareness level? If they're already company aware, is that going to be more effective than somebody who is not even problem aware? Absolutely. Absolutely it will. So when we look at effectiveness, that starts to open up a bigger picture of where do we start, right? So I like to look at it as the example that people say is take the low-hanging fruit first, right? But I like to look at it as a pond, and the pond is filled with fish, right? So you can just take a cup and dip it into the pond and pick it up, and it'll have fish in it because the pond is just so filled with fish. But as you start to remove the fish from the pond, they have more room to swim around. They're further away from you. You have to start using a net, and then you have to start using a wider net and a wider net. And you need to keep casting a wider net to be able to catch additional fish because the easy to catch fish have already been caught, right? So this is how I like to look at the different options that we have. There are options that are going to be really easy, but when you run that option long enough, it has a finite end. In other words, it's not going to continue to be able to be amplified and flow as quickly as you would like it to because there's only so many fish in the pond, right? However, once you get past the easy stuff and you've dipped the cup in and then you've moved to a net, you could continue to use a wider and wider net to continue to find more and more fish. Now, in that example, fish would be finite, that eventually you'd run out of fish. The reality is that if you were to bring on billions of customers, eventually you would run out of people too. So Facebook has that problem now, right? They're running out of people to add to Facebook. So it's harder and harder for them to show increasing numbers to their shareholders of active users on Facebook because almost half the world is using it. And almost a third of the world is actively using it every single day. So they have that problem. I don't think any of us, anybody listening to this show is going to have that problem, and nor do we want that problem, right? You probably want to grow your firm to a certain size, whatever that size is, and it's probably not to the point where you're servicing every single person on the planet. So here is where we can start to break down what the different options are and where do they fit into this whole thing, right? So the easiest client for you to sell to are referrals, right? If somebody tells somebody else about you and tells them that you are awesome and you did a great job, they're giving you a testimonial, they're referring you, they're basically saying, we know that this person, this law firm does a good job, and now that person has found out about you from somebody that they trust, and they are coming into it already company aware, already problem and solution aware, and already they're able to skip straight to almost to the convert stage. So you still need to engage them and you need to explain to them why they need your services and give them a price, but ultimately they're ready to buy because they came through a referral. The problem with referrals is you can't control them. To some extent you can, but at some point the referrals run out and you can't get other people to refer for you. You can only offer the option or ask them to do it, but you can't make them do it. So you have very little control over the quantity of referrals, the volume, and how quickly they come in. So that's the importance to understand about referrals, but that's also probably the first place you should start. That's the cup. That's, dip the cup into the water and grab as many fish as you can. That's what referrals are in this scenario. So the next thing that we have is people who are actively searching for a solution. So they're already problem aware, and now they're looking for a solution, or they know the solution and they're looking for a provider to provide that solution. Those are people who are actively searching on Google. They're in Facebook groups posting a question. Does anybody know? Does anybody have a recommendation for X, Y, and Z? So in those situations where somebody is actively searching for a solution, obviously response marketing would be the right form of marketing for them. And there's more predictability, but it's still limited and it's not in your complete control. I'll give you an example. Let's say that I'm a trademark attorney in Rockland County, New York, and I can service anybody in Rockland County. So there's only so many people searching for a trademark attorney in Rockland County, right? You don't have to be familiar with Rockland to know it's a county, so it's not huge, and there's really only so many people who would need that service from a small finite part of the population. So chances are, if you're looking to run ads on Google to people searching for that, your ads will perform. Like your name will get delivered when somebody puts in trademark attorney in Rockland County, but there might not be that many people searching. So you might not get that many leads from that type of marketing. So that's the problem with response marketing to somebody who's actively searching. Now, some practice areas have a much higher frequency of search than others. So if you're business to business, you probably have lower volume. If you're business to consumer, you probably have higher volume. So people in family law, criminal law probably can get a lot more leads through Google search. Now, here's why. There's another thing like the Avo listings, the listserv companies that are out there. I'm not a big fan of those. And the reason is because, they could be very valuable, but law firm owners tend to spend a lot of time trying to get their profile perfect, and they're to be able to get to that 5-star rating or however they're rating it, to get that top level rating, so that you can say, hey, I'm at the top here, and then you show up at the top of their searches. Now that's all great, but the reality is when somebody's looking for a solution, they're going to get a list of firms. They may or may not call you, even if you're at the top. And even if they do call you, it doesn't mean that they're going to want to do business with you. There are far better ways of establishing a relationship with them rather than getting them calling in through the listing that you have there. So I'm not saying not to do it, but I really think that you're wasting your time and effort if you're really focusing on that to improve your rating there. The quality of the leads tends to be lower, and it tends to be a harder sale to close. Now, let's see. So then we have interruption-based marketing. So finally, you have interruption-based marketing is going to address somebody who's not even aware of the problem, or somebody who's problem aware but is not actively seeking a solution. And for that, you can have anything that gets put in front of people wherever they are. So you can have TV ads, radio ads, billboards, podcast sponsorships, direct mail, social media. Any of those are examples of interruption-based marketing where you're marketing into a place where somebody tends to hang out, and therefore you're hoping that somebody who's passing by would actually have a need for what it is that you're promoting. So that's basically the synopsis of marketing in a nutshell. So at this point, you're like, okay, great. So I understand the concepts. I understand what you're explaining to me. I understand I need to take somebody on a journey. I need to make them aware of the problem. I got to somehow get them to look for the solution, understand that I provide that solution, and now want to do business with me. So how do I make that happen, right? We threw out so many things of what's better, what's not better, what's the criteria. So I can't tell you that for every firm, this is exactly the route that you should follow. What I could tell you is that this is a pretty good starting point, understanding that if you follow this order, you probably will be doing your fishing the right way. You could start with a wide net. So you could start with a TV commercial and hope to catch the fish. But there are far better ways to get those easy fish rather than throwing a wide net in and trying to rein that in. So here's how it goes. Referrals. That's number one. Now, how do you get referrals? Well, you can go to past clients and you can find out if they're happy with the service that they got. And if they are, then you can find out whether they're willing to share your name with friends and family. Now, you could make this exciting. So you could have giveaways. You could have contests. There are different ways that you can try to gamify this or create some sort of way for them to earn. And this will go back to our last episode, my last solo episode, 11, where I talked about whether it's ethical. So here's where you need to just make sure that you're operating within the guidelines, because I've been told by some attorneys that paying somebody for referrals is not ethical. I'm not sure if that's true. As a matter of fact, I would highly doubt that is true. Maybe paying another attorney for a referral might fall under that guise. But anyway, so you could have some sort of payment plan where you give them a finder's fee for introducing a client to you. So past clients are a great referral source if you are willing to do the work, because you have to talk to them, you have to ask for it. And I know definitely some of my coaching students have had an issue with this in the past, but it's a great place to get new clients, because remember that when these people are talking about your firm and talking about their experience, they're convincing somebody that you're it. And now all you need to do is just tell them what they need and how much it's going to cost, and you're done. So it's really great. Then friends and family is another source. It's not as good as past clients because they can't speak to the work that you do. They can only speak to your character, and they don't necessarily have the target clients for you. Usually past clients are hanging out in the same demographic of other clients, that potential clients. Friends and family might not fall into that. And then there's other professionals. I heard this on another podcast where somebody was talking about when they first opened up their law firm, they sent like a cake or a box of donuts to every other firm in the area. And they basically said, hey, we just opened up. Here's our address. Here's our phone number. This is the services that we provide. And we just want to let you know that we're here and we'd love to serve your clients if they have a need for this. And they got a lot of business from other law firms in the area who just didn't provide that specific practice area or that specific niche within the practice area that this firm was specializing in. So it's a great idea of how to get your name out there to other professionals in the area. It doesn't have to be law firms, right? It could be, for example, if you're a tax attorney, or if you're a estate planning attorney, or if you're a business attorney, you can go to CPAs, you can go to bookkeepers, you can go, there's plenty of professionals out there who would have the same clients as you, but don't do the same thing as you, and would be a great referral source for you. Now, so once you've got referrals down, once you've got every type of referral system going and it's bringing in business, but now it's not predictable, you don't control it, you want to get to that next step. Number 2 is to do your solution or problem-aware response marketing. And this is where a lot of attorneys are already doing this. A lot of law firms are already doing this, where you're spending money on Google Ads to basically come up whenever somebody's searching for your type of attorney in your area. And typically what's done is you just have your law firm show up at the top as an ad with the name of the firm and the phone number, and you're hoping that they're going to call you for a consultation or to find out more information. So that's option A. Now, for this particular method, the solution and problem-aware response marketing, I like to implement what we teach, our client attainment machine. Now, just yesterday, I hosted a free workshop where I taught this client attainment machine, and I went through the exact process to have this machine. Now, if you missed it, but now that you've listened to this episode, you really want to find out how to implement this machine, then I suggest that you go back and watch the replay. We'll make the replay available to you. So you can get that at profitwithlaw.com/client machine, profitwithlaw.com/client machine. And just go ahead and watch the replay there, and you'll get to see how that machine is put into action. But that's step number 2. And then finally, step number 3, and this is a very big step because it's all your other marketing opportunities, interruption marketing. And that's where you need to first make somebody problem or solution or company aware. And then from there, you can then take them to ascend them on that journey to engage, subscribe, convert, and so on. So, as you can tell, each of these has very specific information that would make sense for them. So we'll cover a bunch of them in future episodes, but I'm definitely not going to cover it today. So I hope that this information was helpful, and I hope that it helped open your eyes to really start to understand what goes into marketing and what do I need to think about when I'm thinking about a specific marketing campaign. Who am I targeting? And if they're not aware, does this campaign do a good job of making them aware, or am I wasting my time? I'll give you a good example. So there's an attorney in the New York tri-state area that his name is on a ton of billboards. It's a black billboard, and it has the name of the attorney at law, and that's it. Now, it's great brand recognition. So if I see his name, I will recognize it. I will know this is the attorney that is on billboards all across the New Jersey Turnpike, all across the New York State Thruway. Everywhere I look, there's a billboard for this attorney, right? But I also have no idea what he does. And not only do I have no idea what he does, even if I had an idea what he did, I might have no idea whether I need his services or not. I don't know how to contact him. Right? Granted, I could Google his name and find him, and I can Google his name and find his website and find out what he does. But how effective are those billboards? How much is he spending on billboards to put his name out there? And how much of it is being wasted because it's a poor campaign? He is not targeting his customers in the right way. Putting your name out there in front of people is interruption marketing. And with interruption marketing, you have to have a message that reins them in. You have to have something that is going to resonate with the person reading it for them to be able to say, oh, I need to find out the next step. So, again, if you're going to do your campaign, now you understand what you need to think about. You can avoid things like that, which is wasting a lot of money for something that is really not going to return the results that you want. And there's better uses of your cash, right? So there's better ways to spend the money if you're more strategic about it. So just one more time, I'm going to remind you about our upcoming workshop. Over the next few months, I'm going to be hosting a series of workshops. The second workshop is going to be the Law Firm Cash Solution, how to stop living paycheck to paycheck, get your life back, and only think about money twice a month, specifically for law firm owners. To sign up for this training that will take place Tuesday, May 28th at 3 p.m. Eastern, go to profitwithlaw.com/workshop, profitwithlaw.com/workshop, and sign up there. Until next time, guys, everyone have a wonderful day. That's it for this week's episode of Profit with Law. If you have enjoyed the show, please consider sharing it with at least one person. Imagine how many lives we can change if we each shared this episode. Another way to share the episode is on social media. We appreciate your support and look forward to you joining us again next week.